Hi guys, today's lesson is how to sketch a trig function. I just picked one trig function here and we're going to sketch this. Okay, so it's sketching, so it's done a bit roughly, not graphing, but what I've got here is a bit more than sketching, a bit more details here. So during the exam, I'm sure the more you practice, you will actually know what to do, what is more important. Okay, so you don't have to have a great details of it because it's a sketching, but still, if you need to know a little bit more about it, here is the lesson. Okay, so y equals 2 sine 3 brackets x minus pi over 3, close the brackets, plus 1, and it goes from 0 to 2 pi. Now, these is actually from your syllabus. Okay, so it looks like a little bit of it like a formula. So k is 2 here, a is 3, b is minus pi over 3, and c is 1. Now k is amplitude, how far it goes up from the center, and the period is 2 pi over value a. So a is not period. Period is 2 pi over a for sine function and cosine function. Obviously, the tan function is pi over a. Now, b and c is the horizontal shift and vertical shift. Now, b is here inside the sine. So it's with x. So it's something to do with the x-axis, if you like. So it's going to be shifting left or right, yeah, because it's x-axis. So only thing you need to be careful of, it's like curve sketching. So if it's going to be the positive, it's going to go shifting to the left, and if it's a negative, it's shifting to the right. So here, what we have is a negative pi over 3, which is a negative, so it's going to shift to the right. And also, horizontal shift is also called phase. Now, C, the last part of that, it's just one here. It's called vertical shift. So it's something to do with y-axis, because that's like y equals something, something plus 1. So it's positive, it's going up, negative, it's going down. Here, what we have is a positive 1. So whole graph, the wave, sine wave, it's going to shift it up by 1. Okay, so that's what it means. Now, there are 4 steps to sketch the trig function. Lucky for you. 4 is, I think, just enough to manage. First step is gathering all the information, what you need. Okay, so I'll just put it as a characteristics of the function. So you need to know your amplitude, you need to know your center, you need to know your period, and you need to know how many cycles that this function has from 0 to 2 pi. Because the period we're looking at is within that 2 pi. Okay, so be aware of that. I'm gonna go down a bit. Yeah, that's better. So first of all, amplitude, and we talked about that. 2 is the amplitude, but because we saw it's shifting by 1, shifting up by 1, so your amplitude is still 2, but your center is now going to be not x-axis, not 0, it's going to be 1. So everything is going a little bit 1 up. So instead of 2 on a scale, your maximum value will be 3 now. Your minimum y value will be minus 1 because center has changed from 0 to 1. Okay, and then period is, as we talked about it, is 2 pi over a. A was 3, so your period is 2 pi over 3. Okay, now how many cycles we're going to have in that 0 to 2 pi? That means how many pattern is completed, okay, or repeated. So 2 pi over 3 is my period times by how many cycles equals 2 pi, because that's, you know, it's almost like saying number of cycles in 2 pi. Okay, so you can just use A as how many cycles, or if you want to know how we got that 3 cycles, it's just 2 pi over 3 times 3, which is 2 pi. Okay, so then we need to sketch the 3 cycles. And here, remember that it's shifting to the right by pi over 3. And also that pi over 3 is your starting point. Okay, because everything is from 0 to move shifted to the right by pi over 3. So your starting point is not 0, it's starting from pi over 3. Now I put apple center people cycle there for you to remember easily about collecting the characteristics. Like, you know, apple center, like, you know, Microsoft, Apple Center. And because of their environmentally friendly people, they cycle. So just say, you know, people center. Oh, sorry, Apple Center people cycle. So hopefully you can remember that. Anyway, I just made it up. You can come up with anything you like. Okay, after we got to know all the characteristics, I need to know my scale because I need to sketch the graph. So what I'm going to do here is I've got 2 pi over 3, and then there's 3 cycles happening. So each cycle, I need to know the scale, what's happening there. And I'm just going to halve it to just find the middle of that period, okay? So when I halved it, I'll get pi over 3. And then I need to halve it again, which is pi over 6. Then I think I'm just going to stop there. As you can see from my diagram here, you can see, I'm just pointing here, hopefully you can see that. I've got the 2 pi over 3 as my boundary, and then I'm halving that as pi over 3 and halving it again, pi over 6. Now, why am I halving it again? Because I know for a fact to complete the sine wave, I need more than just 2 parts. I need 4 parts here to get through. So I just halved it. Now also it happened to be its good value here, good number pi over 6, because it has to keep moving by pi over 3 to the right, and pi over 6 we can actually make it in terms of pi over 3 from pi over 6. So it is a good scale. All right, so there's a 4. How do I know there's a 4 parts? I just make it into 4 of the pi over 6 into 2 pi over 3, because that's my period. Okay, so that's what I've got here right now. So we know that 1 is our center now, and therefore my amplitude is pushed up to 3, and the below is minus 1. Okay, so the range is from maximum is 3, minimum is minus 1, my center is 1. Okay, so what I've got all the crosses here is I'm just using the pattern here. So I know that for a fact it's going to start from pi over 3, isn't it? So I just cross that because that's my starting point. And I know each cycle, each section, it's going to be repeating the pattern. So the pi over 3, I just cross that on the center, and pi, I cross that on the center, 5 pi over 3, I cross it on center, because each one will be repeating the same pattern. And also, I found the y-intercept, when substitute x equals 0, I know that y equals 1. So it's my starting point here. That also means I can start the repeating the points there too for each section, each cycle. Okay, so we got that right. And also I've got minimum and maximum. How do I know that is a minimum and after pi over 3 is maximum? Because my starting point is pi over 3, Therefore, after the pi over 3, it's going to go up and down. Remember, the sine wave is max and minimum, max, minimum, like that. So I know before pi over 3, it's going to be low, minimum. So I'm just roughly guessing that's what's going to happen. Now, to confirm all that, I've done something a little bit different here. Now, I've put as like a little stars, there's extra steps. I mean, you can do roughly what you've got is perfectly okay for sketching. But if I want to know the actually maximum points of on the graph, at least you can, just put that in as just one cycle there. You don't have to do all of it. What I've done is I substitute pi over 6 and 3 pi over 6, which is here. So my middle of the cycle is pi over 3. And middle of that is pi over 6 and 3 pi over 6, which is pi over 2. So I want to know what's happening there. So when I substitute in pi over 6, I actually happen to get -1, which is my minimum value. Okay? And when I substitute in pi over 2, I actually get 3, which is my maximum value, which is fantastic. So I know now, before I didn't know that was like my minimum, and that was my maximum on the pi over 2. But now I calculated, and that confirmed that they are pi over 6 is minimum and pi over 2 is maximum. So I can actually now cross that, pi over 6 on the minimum, 5 pi over 6 in the minimum, 9 pi over 6 minimum. Now, you don't have to put all these scales in there, numbers, but at least the first cycle, you put it in, and you know that that first one is of the cycle is your minimum. So you just repeat that points, and you know the second last one is the maximum. So you put the maximum up there. Okay, and when you've done that, you can actually use your pencil, smooth it up the curve. So that's where all happening, the last. I put all these color, highlighters all over the graph. But of course, in exam you can't do it. But use the pencils and then put, rewrite it with a pen and then just rub it off. So that'll be much neater and nice. Okay, well that's it. More important thing is that you practice. Get to know your steps and practice more and more, and you'll get better at it. Okay, well that's it. Thank you.